Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is part 6 of the ugly mother-in-law saga. If you have a good mother-in-law, you don't know what God has done for you, or you're married to a good family, you don't know what God has done for you. Well, people in the West might not really relate to this, but in Africa, you literally hear ladies praying for the mother-in-law not to be alive. It's because of stories like this. Of course, it's not a good thing. You should be praying to marry to a good man, a good home. But yeah, if you've not seen the other part, you need to start from beginning. You need to actually start from
Of
beginning.
my Mother Gothel
Please
series,
continue.
part 6 of my Mother Gothel series, where we left off was Colton's dad told us he wasn't going to help with our wedding anymore. The wedding that was only 2 months away. Vaughn's anger didn't last forever. He's naturally easygoing, and once he cooled down, he actually listened to Colton. Colton defended us. He explained why we had set that boundary. He told his dad that our child's health comes before anyone's feelings, and if they couldn't respect that, they didn't need to be involved. I don't know what else Penny said to Vaughn, because Vaughn is level-headed, so it must have been more than just telling him that her family could not hold Everly after smoking. Other things must have been said. Vaughn knew how Penny's family can be, and he did offer to help pay for the venue again. But the damage was already done, because in one phone call, without being there, without hearing both sides, he was ready to walk away from his only son. And this would not be the last time I watched this happen. We did get married, but things were strained. The night before the wedding, my family stayed at the hotel. No one from Colton's side came. The next day, Penny showed up with a friend, and Kieran came, but he looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. And even after everything, I still included Penny. Family pictures with us, pictures with Colton, pictures of him kissing her cheek, pictures holding my daughter. I never shut her out. I treated her like family because I still wanted peace. The wedding itself was beautiful. We smiled, we danced, we said our vows. But something had shifted. I didn't feel safe in the illusion that things were better, because they changed with her at the drop of a hat. The chaos quieted, but the tension never really went away. Life moved forward. In and out of state, traveling for outages. Most days it was just me and Everly. Colton worked 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts for the duration of outages. I still tried to include Penny. Again, I FaceTimed her. I sent her pictures every day, trying to build a relationship. Something else started happening around this time. Penny would tell Everly to call her, and Everly would, and she'd never answer. And when you're 3 years old, that hurts. She would promise visits when we were back in state, say, "Oh, I'll see you Monday." Then Monday would come, and then she'd cancel 10 minutes before. Everly would get upset. This was not once or twice. This was her consistent behavior. Colton told her to stop promising specific days. If she couldn't follow through, she needed to stop making promises to our daughter. Let her visits be a surprise. But Penny kept doing it. She also started telling Everly she was sick, sometimes even saying she might die. That was something we shut down immediately. Children shouldn't carry adult fear. She would try to talk to Everly about her seizures, about her.
Like, how selfish can you be? Like, how selfish and self-centered can you be to the level of involving a child in your growth? A literal child.
Epilepsy, and again, we had to explain why that was not appropriate. You are supposed to protect children from fear, not plant fear in them for sympathy. My daughter certainly didn't know what asthma was or that I had it. Toddlers should be worrying about crayons and playgrounds, not their grandmother dying. Something else that never made sense to me, she would say she was too sick to see Everly, and then offer to babysit, or offer to take her overnight. If someone is too sick to see my child once a month, they're definitely not taking my child overnight. Especially when Max, who lived in the house, had ignored us for years and never even acknowledged that my children existed. Why would I send my daughter to that environment? When Everly got a little older, Penny actually told her she was going to take her for a sleepover, without speaking to me or Colton first. That's not how this works. It caused a big fight. She tried to reason with Colton, and he said no, overnight visits were not happening. We have never allowed overnight visits with anyone at this point. You don't get to be too sick to see my child, but healthy enough to take a child overnight in an unstable environment. That's not a punishment, that's protection. There was another boundary issue at that time too. Penny had a large Rottweiler named Sadie. I love dogs. I have 2 dogs myself. But Sadie was not used to being around young children. One day, Sadie growled at Everly, and Penny said it was a love purr. No, it was a territorial growl from a dog big enough to kill my child. I'm not gambling my child's safety on denial. Dogs around children need training and boundaries. Colton would often put Sadie outside when we visited. Around that time, Penny's mom, who we will call June, her health started declining. Colton's grandfather had passed from lung cancer years earlier, and June was alone. Penny started helping her. She brought groceries, she checked on her, and then it became another one of her reasons she couldn't see us, which at this point we just wanted to see her once every few weeks. At some point, June moved in with Penny and Max. Max charged her $1,000 a month for her to live there. Penny did stop working and went on disability sometime in the previous year or two. June's VA pension went to Max. Eventually, June was diagnosed with dementia. The woman who had screamed and yelled at the Jack and Jill party was completely different. Softer, kinder, almost childlike. She just became grandma. Caring for someone with dementia is incredibly hard. I will never pretend that it wasn't hard on Penny. Around that time, when Everly was 3, I became pregnant again, and again our life changed. It was another high-risk pregnancy, and around 37 weeks I was brought in for another C-section. Again, Penny was allowed there. She held my son, who we will call Liam. She took pictures, and for a while things felt calmer. But the patterns didn't disappear, and Colton was certainly starting to recognize them. About 2 weeks after
Finally, finally, Mr. Coates. I'm
Liam was
happy for
born,
your
and this
life.
next part was one of the hardest moments of my life. Colton had to leave for an outage. We talked about it. We needed the money. We agreed that he would go. I was home with a toddler and a newborn, trying to breastfeed, recovering from major surgery. Mamas, you know how it is. And Penny lived 10 minutes away. She didn't come to help. That's when I thought things couldn't get more overwhelming. Liam got sick. He was only 3 weeks old and he had a high fever. And babies that young are not supposed to have fevers. So I had to rush him to the hospital, where they attempted a spinal tap on a 3-week-old baby. It was honestly so traumatizing. Then we were transferred to a children's hospital, and that's when Colton left Massachusetts and drove straight to us. Thankfully, Liam was okay, but it was terrifying. I had to send Everly to stay with my mom, and I stayed at the hospital with the baby. And through all of that, Penny never offered to help. She never came over. When Penny was sick, she expected everyone to drop everything and run to her side. But when someone else needed help, she disappeared. And I didn't realize just how true that was until the day my life was actually on the line.
You didn't realize how selfish and self-centered she has been. That is what's driving her to do what she's doing. Everybody has to be at her beck and call. If anyone is going out of line, this the person needs to be corrected. And to her, you disrupted her plans by taking cotton out of her clutch. You disrupted that. So you must be her number one enemy. That's how women like that behave. You are like her number one enemy. So if Penny was making excuses not to see you, why were you putting on so much energy into trying to see her? My mother-in-law was toxic. Eventually, we couldn't make any effort with her. It's actually okay to love people from afar. I don't know why we don't understand that. You loving somebody from afar is doesn't mean you hate them. If somebody she even responded, I don't know because I was dumb. My kids were close to her and I didn't want to do anything to hurt them. They wanted to see her. Well, okay. Guys, I'll see you in the next part.